the answer is this, and it takes practice, and it takes failing multiple times. Failing when you're trying to maintain disciplinary habits is really a very powerful demon you should fight, because it is such a satisfying feeling that it gives you license to do it again. Right? Each one kind of builds on itself in that way. It's like once you do that, you allow that comfort to be familiar, and once it becomes familiar, it becomes acceptable, right? And so here's what I would say, and this is what anybody who's ever been any kind of disciplined actor in their life, whether it's an athlete or a businessman or whatever, you have to learn to put yourself in but we all struggle with this. It's not like I've got it all figured out, but you have to be able to tell yourself the following, and it has to be true. If you commit to something, I'm going to read a book, I'm going to build some shelves, I'm going to bike ride 100 miles this week, whatever it is, right? I'm going to run a mile. Maybe everyone's got, you're behind on your fitness and you want to make some changes. Whatever it is, whatever the goal is, it doesn't matter how lofty. It just matters the following. Once you set it, you have to just commit to the idea that first of all, you have to have a process, right? So here's the plan. Plan is I'm going to ride 10 miles this day, 20 miles the next day, 15 miles next day. This is the plan. I've got all the time. So part of it is, obviously identifying, high but attainable goals, creating a process that is clear and achievable and direct, right? Having a roadmap to get there. So there's the goal, there's the roadmap. But what really is the glue that holds it all together is if you commit to this by a certain timeline or whatever it is, whether or not you want to do it on the day in which you're supposed to contribute towards it is irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Look, there are times in our life where pumping the brakes is fine, right? Burnout, things like that, illness, mental health reasons. There could be all kinds of reasons to pump the brakes. But the reality, you have to just, once you have accepted this, everything becomes much easier. If you're gonna read a chapter of a book a day, let's call it that, it doesn't matter if 4 chapters in you don't want to read chapter 5. Whether you want to or not is irrelevant. And what you might find is that early on, you don't get as much out of chapter 5 as you did chapters 1 and 2 because you're distracted and you're kind of forcing yourself through it. Those are just growing pains. That will go away over time. As you get better about realizing that your level of interest at the time in which you're supposed to do something, whatever that may be, when you realize how irrelevant that is and how that should not be your motivation, and what your motivation should be is the getting through the process of incremental progress, whether or not you love the feeling or not, that is how you achieve. That is how you get to a goal. So this idea of yes, you do want to find things and you want to try things that are going to be less costly in terms of that, right? You want to, you want to create as much friction as you can. You want to make it smooth, but it doesn't matter how smooth it is. And this is what a great job this is. But the reality, and sometimes I take my foot off the gas too, man. We're all guilty about it. But if you have a plan and you have a process and you're sticking to it, at each stage, if it calls upon you on that day to do that thing, you just do it. And you're like, man, this just fucking sucks. I don't fucking want to do this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be engaged in this. You have to learn how to quiet that and push through it. And even if you feel like that when it was all over and you got nothing out of it, you have to do it again the next time and again the next time. Relying on interest alone to accomplish a goal usually will not be enough. What it will require is a realization that there is a way to be committed to a process that has nothing to do with how much you like it. And once you get to there, well, then you have unlocked the keys to the kingdom, friend. You can do anything at that point. It does not matter what you want to do. What matters is what you have said you were going to do.